Probably to play some piano, so might as well.
Yeah.
I don't know like how much you can hear of that though, but yeah. Oh, rip the stream. Let's do something else.
I think we're back, actually.
Oh, it's back. Okay.
All right. So you didn't see it, but we entered the first dungeon, which is Deepwood Shrine. This dungeon doesn't really have any glitches. There is one, but it's useless. So it's mostly just movement and executing fights correctly. Oh, also, I don't know if you saw, but there was an Ezreal cutscene just there. Sometimes there are just randomly Ezreal cutscenes everywhere, and if you roll into them, then it actually takes quite a long time for them to start. So you will most likely see them not roll and just walk towards them to save a few frames, or even
there are
seconds.
some exceptions to this, but yeah, normally you have to.
The only exception really is this one in the barrel here. I don't know why that one is different, but even if you roll into that one, it doesn't matter. You don't waste time. Oh, Blue's actually on really low health already. Pretty scary.
You got some nice luck with the flying enemy. I can't remember the name of it though. That's normally that
Pesto.
one is in your pesto. In your way when you push the barrel, the pot.
Yeah. But because he was slow on hearts, he killed him just to be safe. It's actually very easy to die in this dungeon. It happens a lot during runs, for me at least. There are a few safety hearts, but not until the next big damage threat is over, so...
And dying, like in some games you want to die to like Death Warp, but that's not really useful in this game. There's one instance when you want to die, but that's coming up later on. And the next room here is quite tricky. With this amount of health, he's probably going to take it very safe.
Yeah. So usually in this room you want to roll through the enemies, because rolling actually gives you invincibility frames. But because Blue is on pretty low health, I think he won't roll through most of them and actually just kill them to be safe. And he still rolled through some of them a bit. They were in a good position, so it worked out well. So for this Moldozer fight, if you roll up you can get a quick kill on the one that spawns. Yeah, there. English. How to words. At the top of the room, there we go. Alright, so he will probably get that safety heart here, yeah.
So incoming the I can't remember the name. I'm so bad at the names.
The Matter Pillar.
Matter Pillar, yeah.
The good mini boss.
If you get to like unlucky with the movement, you can miss a cycle on him, but probably not.
Yeah, usually you want a 2-cycle. 3 cycle is fairly rare, and if you get a 3 cycle, it's usually your fault. So what you want to do is just hit his head so that his tail becomes vulnerable, and then just spam slashes for his tail. And that fight gives us the Gustar, the first item in a dungeon. Not too useful, really, in terms of glitches and everything, but you still do need it to beat the game.
Well, kind of useless, in my opinion, in terms of glitches. I think there's no glitches you can do with this one, except like portal items.
You can softlock with it.
Yeah, well, this is... in the overworld, the glitch make you move around.
Oh,
then
yeah,
the
that's
Gustar is useful, but there's no use for that glitch at the moment, as far as I know.
Yeah. Alright, so lily pad movement is usually hated among the TMC runners. But
I hate it so much in passing. It's disgusting.
I actually need to call you out later in a lily pad section, but we'll get there.
Yeah. Are you cutting out, Joe?
Okay. Can you not come back?
Oh wow, it sucks.
Man. Who to blame? Core or Twitch? Probably Twitch. Let's blame Twitch. Alright, but yeah, lily pad movement is usually very difficult to optimize, but for RTA, most of the runners do the same for most of the lily pad sections. There aren't that many left after more skips were found, so it's not really a big deal anymore.
I tried for a long time to clip into the last area here without having the gust jar. But the doorway, the stairs rather, doesn't work unless you get rid of the web.
Yeah.
Even if you can like wall clip into it, it doesn't matter, sadly.
That's the thing with a lot of loading zones in this game. They aren't actually there until you trigger a certain flag or do something specifically like getting rid of the webs.
But even if you could clip into it, it will be useless as you can't really get anywhere, but still.
The mushroom.
Yeah, and then the boss you have to use the gust jar on anyway. And
oh, true, so, that too. Man.
So this boss fight is interesting because when it falls down, it stays down for a different amount of time. And you actually want to hit it as few times as possible, as you want it to be down as low time as possible. So the minimum you can get is 6 hits, and the maximum is 9. Or 5 hits, depending on how you count it.
Yeah, so after you suck up some of his goo, he will start leaning towards a specific side first, and the side he leans to first is where you want to go, so that he falls down a little bit quicker, and only leads to sides like 3 times. For the last phase here, he can either do, or he can either jump 5 times, or he can charge at you. Alright, he got the 5 jumps. The 5 jumps is what you don't want, because he will be in the air for some time, which wastes time. If he just charges at you, you can just walk towards the room while sucking up his goo, which is quite a bit faster.
And while this boss has some randomness to it, it's not as bad as an upcoming boss, which no one likes.
Yeah. Still one of the easier bosses. You don't usually lose too much time to him, even if you get really bad RNG.
I mean, we get...
Flawless layout.
So this game is part of the Four Swords games, the series. So when you get 2 elements, you're going to upgrade this sword. It's a clone link. And we tried to skip one of the clones, as you can get one of the elements earlier. But it turns out to not be possible, like anything else in the game.
Alright, so Blue's about to get the bombs here, and the bombs are kind of interesting. They're pretty useful in this game. Not as useful as in other Zelda games, but you can still do some stuff with them. Interestingly, they have 3 different timers. One of them is when you just put them down normally. I don't remember the exact frames, but just putting them down normally takes the longest time. If you pick them up and then throw them fast, they will explode a little bit faster. And then there's something called a roll lift, which is when you roll and then put down a bomb afterwards, the bomb will kind of jump for a little bit and make it explode a lot faster for some reason. It takes like 1 second, I think, or 80
Well, it's
frames.
actually, you lay down a bomb and then you roll to pick it up, not the other way.
Oh yeah, that way around. So with the new rev, you actually activate that wind crest here, because we need to come back here later. Although, new route, it's not that new anymore, it's like a few months old now. And
yeah, Toad is an asshole, so just when we finished the previous task, he said, "Oh guys, I found the flipper skip, it says 5 minutes!" So like, the 2 years we worked on the task, like, you have to do everything again. So So thank you.
I'm
I
sorry.
will redo it though. I will redo it. I love this game.
Man, I tried to find something while you were tasking, but I guess
I tried
just-
to. This game
it
hated.
just shouldn't happen. Alright, so here we need to learn. Was the hurdy-gurdy guy. Instead of fusing with him, Blue just save and quit, which is a little bit faster than doing the actual fusion. You also keep the kinstone, but you don't really need the kinstone in any percent. And now we get the spin attack, because we need, in order to leave the town on the left side, we need to impress the guard. And a spin attack is, of course, really impressive, and shows how strong Link actually is. So if you show him the spin attack, he will let you go through.
Here's the first instance where we have to use some money to buy a bottle.
Yep.
Which will be useful, well, first off you need it to get water in it, but you also will have to use it for eclipse coming up later in the run. Tico! Oh, poor Blue.
So we don't actually need that many rupees in any percent. It's 120 rupees in total, I'm pretty sure. And we only really need to get the bottle, which is 20 rupees, the grip ring, which we will get on Mount Cornell, which is 40 rupees, and then a mushroom later on, which is 60 rupees. And here Blue will actually get the other 15 rupees. So instead of doing the manipulation at the beginning, where you can manipulate 4 blue rupees, you just got 1 and got the other 3 in here instead, because it also gives you fairies, so it's a little bit safer, especially for a marathon.
Yeah, to manipulate the blue rupees in the beginning, you have to enter and re-enter the screens a couple of times as well as rolling, and that takes a little bit of time. So they might as well go for the rupees in the cave instead.
None of the strats is really faster. It's just whatever you want to do, really.
Yeah, like it's more safe, I guess, as you can mess up the manipulation.
Yeah.
So here we have a mountain water, which you can accidentally press B and get rid of, which has happened to a couple of runners in the past.
It has
Like
also
Blue.
happened to Blue before, yes.
Yeah.
So let's hope he will not just pour out the mineral water. It shouldn't happen though, it's not something that happens regularly. I'm not sure what's happening, he seems a little bit distracted because he sometimes stops after shrinking or something. Maybe because of the Quo stuff?
I think he was too scared to use the water. Oh, he got a roll lift! Interesting. That's great. That's a
Yeah, you messed
one
you messed
frame
up the
per
boss a
pixel
little
that
bit.
doesn't always work. Yeah. But the roll lift is nice to see in a run. I'm happy.
I mean, we usually do roll lift sometimes.
Yeah, I know. But it's
The Quo stuff, I'm sorry.
it's actually faster to do. Well, not faster. It's possible to skip the second whirlwind by going around it down to the left, but it's slower. But yeah, small things that are useless.
Yeah, it's actually done faster. Done later. Words.
So it's funny how Link can pick up this seed without having any bracelets.
Yeah.
I think it's gigantic. And like, no problem, I can take this.
This thing should wait a lot. English. I'm sorry, today's not my English day.
We can indulge back in it. No, let's not do that, I guess.
Alright, so this
Yeah,
is what
he
we
made
need
it.
the mineral water for. And actually, there is an oversight upcoming. Yeah, you'll see that with the Ghost Star you can actually reach mushrooms that are higher up, like this one, which skips going into the cave. It's pretty nice, but most of the time the mushrooms are just far enough away for you to not be able to reach it with the Gustar. So this is the only real oversight in terms of Gustar mushroom stuff.
And time to buy the grip ring as well. And get some bomb refills. As well, bombs aren't really useful for glitching, they are useful for a lot of other things. Like, you need a lot of them in the game in general.
Right, so the grip ring... you don't really get bombs there, you get them in Cave of Flames. So the grip ring allows you to climb walls on Mount Cornell, and on a different area, which we skip in 80%. He's not actually going... There's a cave there with a heart piece and fairies, but he's not going for the safety fairy, which he probably doesn't need to, with 2 hearts left.
These rocks can be scary though.
Yeah, the big wall here is a famous run killer, or rather the boulders are. They just fall down randomly, and if one hits you, you get half a heart of damage. So if you're low on hearts, the chance of dying here is pretty high. He didn't even get hit once.
That's pretty nice. So the scenario is you get hit by a lot of rocks, then you die by the water.
Oh, this looks kind of bad. Oh, he still got it, okay. This is kind of scary for too slow, but RNG was nice, so he still made it.
Time for some Link to the Past music.
And more RNG stuff, like the raindrops here. They don't do half a heart of damage, so it's not too bad, only a quarter. But combined with the boulders before, there's a really high chance of dying up here.
But I still think it's interesting that the water will only damage you if you're in that tunnel, not in the overworld for some reason.
Yeah.
It makes total sense.
It's only the only, also the only instance in the game where they actually use the raindrops like that, where they can actually damage you.
So yeah, we lost other running queue because his internet connection doesn't work. Well, already he doesn't get on Twitch for some reason. So I'm not sure if we're going to get him back or not, but for now it's just going to be below only.
Yeah, the boulder puzzle here is very exciting and very difficult too. Not really, but...
So in this upcoming cave here, I think the game kind of supposed that you have the boomerang, to get the boomerang to hit a switch, but you can just use the bomb instead to hit it with. As the boomerang was thought to be quite useless in the game.
Well, the normal boomerang is...
Yeah, the normal boomerang is still useless, yeah, but still.
But the magical boomerang...
Oh, you ever see some magic with that one?
Yeah.
So this little button here.
Yeah, the most important thing here is really just to not die, which is very easy. But since he has a lot of hearts, he will be fine. There's one more damage threat at the beginning of... What is Blue doing?
What is
at the beginning, or at the end of the section here. But since he has 2 hearts, it's totally fine. No worries.
Blue's kind of scaring me with his movement now.
Yeah, same.
Like it's really... controlling and control is breaking or something.
Yeah, a lot of randomness. Alright, so this is the last screen where enemies can actually hit you. And usually do, but since he has a lot of hearts, no problem.
So while in most cases enemies always spawn in the same location, they move around randomly. And those guys at boulders are no exception. They can be really annoying. As well as Key Slayer are stupid in all the shell games, of course.
A lot of the runners actually prefer GameCube controller for this game.
One thing that's nice with GameCube controller is to advance text in this game you can use any button you want, as well as the D-pad. Or in the GameCube controller, the analog stick. So you can just spin around the stick to skip the text. It's really fast.
Yeah, but I think Blue is actually using the D-pad.
Oh, he is? Wow, that's even worse.
Yeah. I think DBX and Blue use the D-pad on the GameCube controller. He's actually going for 2 safety hearts. You don't really need them if you have 2 hearts, but better safe than sorry.
Yeah, you never
So
really
we'll
want to
just
die in this
put
game.
down the bomb at the beginning and try to avoid the bombs. But yeah, there's only really one runner I know that played this game or ran this game with a GBA, so...
I always use the Hori digital controller. Because it's beautiful in my opinion. But it's crazy expensive these days, so yeah.
I'm a GameCube controller fan. The stick is too good.
Yeah, the stick is good, but not for a 2D game like this. That's like,
Yeah.
no.
Alright, so the pot in the middle here has, or always has 5 bombs. He also slashes the bomb here to make it a little bit safer later on. And here we cleverly use the bomb to bomb open that wall, or blow open that wall. This room can be a little bit trolly, but 2 of the, how are they called, Homosaurs, charged down, so he got pretty good RNG, wasn't too bad. The first one can charge upwards, in which case all 4 will be at the top side of the room, which is really bad, because then they can just do whatever they want. It usually doesn't happen, but I've seen it way too many times. But yeah, this dungeon also doesn't have any real skips. Only one very, very short skip, which isn't really a skip either. We just call it, I guess, a skip.
Oh, when you fly in the whirlwinds?
Oh, I guess that... Well, we don't do that
see,
anymore because we need chests. I'm more talking about
what
the
do you,
older...
you skip whirlwind in the next room.
I'm more talking about the platform skip.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Which isn't really a skip, but yeah. So we actually used to get rupees in this room here, but because of the new rupee route, that's not necessary anymore. Instead, we will get them still in Cave of Flames, but in the very last room.
Oh, we didn't get the roll lift! No! So while the roll lift can make the bombs explode earlier, you can also get the pots to drop instantly. But that's only possible if you pick up another pot first, and then try to pick up another one. Which saves a lot more.
It's pretty difficult to do consistently, but...
Yeah, well, yeah, it's hard.
So we went all this way just for a small key. Takes a pretty long time to get that small key, but we do need it, unfortunately.
It's really close that you can be able to hit the switch here without having to open the door.
Yeah.
But it's like 3 pixels short, I think.
It's just not possible. It's too bad. By the way, the minecart movement is the fastest in the game. You couldn't tell.
Yeah.
It's pretty flawless. Well-designed minecart. I want one too.
Ooh, those keys can be annoying at the bridge there.
Yeah, they usually always hit you. Right, so the mini-boss fight is pretty easy with the right setup. You try to kill the 3 guys on the left first. Ooh, that still works, okay.
Beautiful.
So usually, yeah, that was a really good fight. Usually you try to kill the one on the bottom left and on the middle on the left first, which makes it easier to kill the one on the top then. But he was fast enough to still get it, so...
I love the logic in some of the Zelda games, like the Kenopaki, which can turn some things upside down. But why those things, not like everything? Doesn't make any sense.
Welcome to Minish Cab.
Like in these pillars, why can't they turn them upside down so you can get to open the chest instantly without having to drop it down a hole? Like, oh, whatever. Don't question logic in games.
Also, not a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh. Hello.
Okay, let's see.
Hey, I can see him. Alright, so what I wanted to say is that no one really knows that, or how to pronounce the cane. or the name of the cane.
Kinapaki,
So there are a lot of
Kinapaki.
there are a lot of different pronunciation, like Cane of Paki, Cane of Pachi, Cane of Pachinko. There's a lot of different stuff because no one really knows how to pronounce it.
But you know that this game is called the Minish Kappa, at least. That one is easy.
Alright, so the Rollerbite room I didn't really pay attention to much, but this room can also be quite trolly, but with the right setup, it's usually not too bad.
Oh wow.
Blue got a little bit, threw it a little bit too far, but it's still fine.
It's nice to see that they were this close, at least.
Yeah. So you can see that Quo actually got a kinstone there. For years of speedrunning this game, we never needed kinstones, or green kinstones, in the any % route. But due to recent discovery, we actually do need 4 green kinstones now to do the magical boomerang side quest. And 3 of those kinstones are, at the moment, gotten in this dungeon. There is technically a manipulation for one of them too, which I think DBX would do in runs if he did runs. But no one else does it right now, so... Right now we get
the new
3
task.
kinstones in here.
That's one of the things
no.
I don't look forward to in the new task, to manipulate the kinstones.
Blue hit the lava.
Ah, taking up a few baths, yeah.
So
It's somewhat
Blue
tricky
will
to
still
get
be
the
able to
iron
get
cycle
the
here.
platform skip, yeah. Just position yourself correctly and then walk over, and you skip a cycle. So you will see Quo get 2 chests in the next room now, and a lot of people kind of question how fast this actually is, but I timed it, so please believe me. So... Oh, he's not, okay. Okay.
Okay, good.
Not too important, Blue will also get there in just a second.
So the commentary can see the bow streams, that's kind of mean.
Yeah.
I guess we have to tell
Yes,
everything
you're
that's going
confused.
on at the moment.
But yeah, so Blue will get the chest in the bottom right corner, which contains 100 rupees, and he will also get the chest in the bottom left corner, which contains a kinstone. And in the earlier any % route, we used to skip both of these chests, because if you get one chest, you will not be able to make the cycle you would get if you didn't get any of the chests. But if you get one chest, you can also get the other, because you will still be able to get the same cycle. So it's not actually slower if you get 2 chests instead of just 1. Which is why, if you get 1 chest, you should also get the other chest, just to be, efficient.
I'm not too used to the new routes yet, so this is kind of new to me. Still. But then you have to wait for the moving platforms before you can get to the boss room. That's the cycles he's talking about.
Yeah. It is actually kind of tricky to still make the cycle if you get both chests. I think Blue should be fine here.
Oh, crap.
Maybe? I just barely didn't make it.
Yeah. By the way, I was supposed to say anything about the walls in the boss room? No?
Well, can I see for yet? I don't think so. Did I miss anything? No, I can't. Alright, so... Yeah, something very important for this boss is... Well, he's called Gleerock, and there are a lot of Gleerock pictures on the walls on the side, which is a pretty big meme in the Minish Cap community for whatever reason. I'm sure everyone will be happy to point it out in chat too.
Yep.
I don't know how it became a meme, but it just is now. But anyway, the way you fight this boss is you use the cane to hit the middle part of him. Although you can get a quick hit at the beginning, but if you're too fast, he's actually not vulnerable yet, so you will actually be a little bit too fast, which is kind of bad.
You need to wait for the shell to stop glowing, to become dark.
Yeah.
And it's slightly faster to have him drop on the top rather than the left, right, the bottom.
Yeah, for whatever reason. But once you hit the middle of him, you just roll to the middle part and slash it 8 times for the first 2 phases. The last phase only needs 5 slashes. It's a very simple boss.
Q is coming up soon after this fight, I believe, when Blue can switch the scenes. So it's coming, it's coming. And Q just finished the fight, by the way, entered the blue portal, or the green portal now. So it's on its way to get the upgraded sword.
New runners actually sometimes forget to get the upgraded sword, which is really bad, because if you forget it, you will have to come back all the way up here again.
Yeah.
So don't forget.
But you can use it in this hole away to drop down from the mountain to get up quickly. But myself included, haven't thought about it all the time.
Alright, I think I can see Core now. At least they're all very excited in the chat.
Yeah. The man is back.
After only 40 minutes? Yeah. About 40.
Welcome back.
Nice.
So this is the first clone upgrade you're going to get out of 3. And
yeah, this part is mostly just cutscenes, really. Or a lot of cutscenes, I should say. As well as one fight that is kind of difficult to execute for me. Everyone else can do it flawlessly, but I struggle with it every run. Makes me cry.
I can't play Cloud Tales, I haven't tried it. I can look it up, the sheet music for it, I guess. But it's going to sound disgusting, so I'd rather not.
Core is ahead, yeah.
There's supposed to be game audio. I guess he's working on it. As we had some issues with Q stream.
Oh, they're probably still fixing some stuff since Core wasn't here for the first 40 minutes.
Maybe. I need to find it first. But there's nothing going on in the run right now anyway, and it's just...
I guess.
Minigame, let's see.
Right, so here we got finally the first clone upgrade. Now we can have 2 links. Unfortunately, the clone mechanic is really boring. They could have made it a lot more interesting if they just let you use items with your clones, but you can only use the sword. So it's very limited.
Well, whatever.
Beautiful.
No, it wasn't beautiful. It was disgusting. Anyway, so now you're off to London Ranch, and you can get here earlier in the game to unlock the door and stuff, but it doesn't save any time. And so you have to get here anyway.
Yeah, so
yeah, Falco is also good at it.
Mob fight upcoming for Core, and I don't actually know what kind of strat he uses. A lot of people use different strats. Yeah, okay, he just walks down and then mashes upwards. It's one of the more consistent strats. It loses a few frames. You can do a more interesting strat that looks a lot cooler and cleaner, but whatever works. So, but even if I do that, it sometimes doesn't work. I don't like this fight. It's my point.
That was the piano.
Worst fight in the game.
But they're mostly just cutscene right now, so Q is in the lead. They're going to be at the same place shortly though, but it's a cutscene ahead.
And blue used the same strat as Quo, and also get a pretty good fight. No trolls.
Yeah, there was kind of plan to play along with the game audio, but I'm not good enough at the piano, and I don't know too many Diminished Cap songs to do it. Sadly. And the music in this game is pretty good, in my opinion, and I shouldn't ruin it with my bad piano playing. Hey, what's happening, Trist?
I'm not sure either.
Alright,
Oh
stream.
yeah, no.
Now I will hit the mic. I'm just really sorry what just happened. We should be good to go for the rest of the race. Please enjoy it. I worked hard for it.
Oh well, technical problems always happen, so what can you do?
Yeah, no worries. It's still good. Did a great job with this marathon in general, so
Yeah.
I have no complaints.
Alright, so something that we kind of missed there, but Blue will also do it in a second. There are two different ways to trigger the Pegasus Boots quest. One is to actually go to Caster Wiles for a second and trigger the Eslo cutscene there, because Eslo will tell you to get like something to run over the mud, but you can also just read the sign that tells you that Caster Wiles is on the left side and that you need... I don't actually remember what exactly it tells you, but it also tells you something, and that also triggers the Pegasus Boots quest.
Yeah,
Instead
the
of going
sign
there, we
says
just read the
don't
sign.
forget your Pegasus boots, so...
Oh, it actually mentions them, okay.
Yeah, I tried to look for all the text in the game to see if anything else mentioned it, but no, it doesn't. Oh, the the harpies in the third house. You need to get
Oh,
all
yeah.
the kinstones, not all the figurines. And there
So
is
Quo is doing brioche manip right now, which means that he just tries to manipulate a green kinstone. Since I've mentioned that we need 4, and 3 of them we can get at Cave of Flames, and the other one we could get in a different place, but it's really slow. So we tried to find a manipulation for it, an RNG manipulation, and there are currently 2 RNG manipulations for it. One is the brioche manip, and another one is Fortress of Winds manipulation. Quo and Blue are actually the only 2 runners that do the brioche manip, and I also do need to pronounce it that way. It's very important.
pretty important. Yeah.
So it's actually interesting that we see that manip instead of the Fortress of Winds manip. And you can also see Blue do it now. Since once again, save and quit resets the RNG, and then by doing a specific pattern to the bakery, which apparently he messed it up there. I don't really know too much about it because I don't do it, but yeah, it's fairly precise, which is why I don't like it personally. Fortress of Winds manipulation is a lot easier for me personally.
It works at least.
Yeah, as long as it works, it's totally fine, of course.
So there's still not too many exciting things going on in this run. You go to step up a bit when you get to the third dungeon. Oh,
Wait, did you
nice
see the
jump
extra?
right here.
I didn't know. Too many new runners that I can't keep track of.
As mentioned, you can get to this area earlier on in the game, as soon as you found Eslo. But because you don't have the Keen Apache, you can't get up here to do anything. Otherwise you could get the Mushroom early, which would be nice.
So this is the last place where we actually need rupees. Which is actually kind of a shame because there, or after this point, or when you get a later item, there are a lot of different opportunities to get more rupees very easily, and a lot of them too. But the only ones that are really necessary are at the very beginning, so we have to get the slow rupees most of the time. Although with the new route, they aren't really that slow anymore either.
It's nice when you have both streams open with the sound and hear the rolling constantly in both streams.
It's pretty good. Pretty good sound effect.
For the first test I made, a few people voted no on it because of the rolling sound. Purely because of the rolling sound. I found that to be kind of funny.
Alright, so Quad just got the boots. Boots are pretty fast, of course. Usually, you try to use the boots when you would have to do 3 rolls, or more, of course. If you don't have to do more, then it's usually just roll there. Unless you also have to diagonal movement, which then you also use the boots, but...
And there you can skip a cutscene at the beginning of the wilds if you just drop down into the swamp instantly. That's normally like
skip the ESO cutscene trigger.
Yeah. And there is a theory getting Pix's boots early by glitzing into this area to redesign, but it's no actual way to do it just yet. But you can drop down from the mountain to clip into walls.
Very good Darknet fight by Quo. So once Blue gets there, I will explain what the strategy is for the Darknet fight, but Quo just got really good RNG and did well, so pretty nice fight.
Someone is talking about pineapple on pizza. Can you please ban that person from the chat? Thank you. This area is pretty good though. I like the sound, the music in it around.
So this is actually where I need to call you out, Tampa and Quo, I guess, but Quo can't hear me. So in the task, the movement they do for the lily pad here is actually slower than what we've been doing in RTA for years now. So, please, don't let it happen again. Also, we get water there in a pretty cool way. While the lily pad is still moving, we just swing the bottle.
That's from the task, though. That's from the task.
That is from the task. I'll give you that one.
But yeah, lily pad movement is so stupid because if you want to go straight up, you don't want to shoot in a line because that's slower. You want to turn around.
I miss Blue's Darknet fight. Alright, anyway, I'll explain it anyway. So, once the fight starts, you want to go, or hug the bottom wall. And once the Darknet gets fairly close to you, you want to bonk against the wall. And there are 2 things the Darknet can do. He can either charge at you, in which case you will land behind the Darknet and can get 4 very easy slashes and kill him instantly. Or he can just slash in place, which he will still be somewhat behind him, more like near him. You can still get 2 hits in, but after that he will turn around, so you will have to set it up once again and walk one more time against the wall, so that's a little bit slower if you get bad RNG.
When we did work on the tasks for this area, I had to redo it many times, like edit the path and in the rest. And I tried to fix things like the optimized lily pad movement, but I couldn't get the rest around the sync properly. Normally when you use to save and quit, the randomness will go to reset. But everything you do up to that point has to be correct. And to fix the fight for the bow took forever to do.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So I just couldn't do it, I tried. But I ended up losing like seconds in the end, pretty much. Not seconds, I guess, but yeah, a long time.
Something that I haven't mentioned yet is that this game runs at 60 frames per second. So losing frames is very easy. So optimizing things is also very easy and very difficult in a task.
Very easy, yeah.
Very easy, yeah. Also, Quo is now fusing with the statues, and of course people want me to point out that once you've fused with them, they will actually smile and be happy.
Yep. And then they break things. It's kind of funny that a big rock in front of them gets broken, but not the rocks like next to them.
Yeah.
Or themselves, I guess. Either. Or the bushes, like, doesn't make any sense.
So Wind Ruins, there's nothing really special about here. You just roll through the armors instead of fighting them. You also rolled through the ogres. I don't actually know their name. Uh-oh. People will be disappointed, but yeah.
The ogres?
Not a big deal. The things you shoot arrows at, and then it will activate, so you roll through them in Caster Wilds.
Oh yeah, nice status.
Igor, there we
wait,
go.
hang on. Igor.
Igor? Really? Okay, whatever.
They also in Olympic past in some of the SL games.
But yeah, other than that, nothing too interesting here, except for the last screen, which we could almost skip, but not quite, because this game is pretty bad.
Yeah.
So you will see what I mean in just a second. But basically there's a glitch called portal items, which we will actually see in the next dungeon. But if you do portal items with boots, which means you just use boots on the portal, and you bonk, Link will be in a somewhat interesting state. And usually if you go, if Cole gets there, if you go to the left, the very left armors will activate and block the path, so you have to deactivate them first. But if you are in that state, the armors won't actually activate. The problem is, if you are in that state, you will not be able to trigger most of the screen transitions anymore. So only very specific transitions still work, but none of them are in this area, so kinda unlucky.
Yeah, we tried to do a lot of skips in this game for years. Like, they have so many theories that almost worked, like this one thing that stopped everything. And like Flipper Skip was theorized a long time ago and almost happened. But they couldn't get the final room done, pretty much.
It finally happened, though.
It finally happened, I'm so happy, even though it cost me 2 years. But yeah. I'm glad, anyway.
Right. So it's time for Fortress of Winds now. Fortress of Winds will actually have the first big skip in the game. Or fairly big skip. It says 3.5 minutes, so it's pretty big.
And that's just like this, it's only the Japanese version and the European one.
Yeah, it doesn't work on the US version.
Too bad US users. So first you need to get the dungeon item. And then you can pretty much go to the boss instantly.
Yeah, you basically just skip the boss key and... Well, yeah, the boss key and the small key, I guess.
Yes, Kyros continued to play all along. Which was pretty nice of him.
Oh, we will also see...
Yep.
Go ahead.
Nope, I'm shutting up.
Alright, this is also probably the first time we will see bow animation cancelling. If you shoot an arrow with the bow and then use the boots afterwards, the rest of the bow animation gets cancelled and saves a few frames. It's not used a lot, it's mostly just here and during Vadi 2.
And the problem is that you don't always have the bow and boots equipped at the same time. As it takes a lot more time to equip both of them than to what the animation saves. But it's really cool when you have to use rapid fire.
It's actually funny because one of the butterfly upgrades you can get in this game makes you shoot arrows faster. But if you just have boots equipped, you can shoot arrows just as fast. So it's literally useless.
Yeah. And there are some other small differences in the game versions. Like here, right outside the cave, we get the myths. As in the US and European versions, I think both of them, there's 2 skulls covering the exit entrance to like tell you that there's something hidden there.
Usually takes people that play this game casually a long time to figure out that you can bomb that wall there.
I think I missed it the first time, despite having the skulls showing me.
I mean, it's still very cryptic, that hint. Alright, so Ko is almost going to skip the BK, the boss key. First he will get a red kinstone though. Ooh, and avoiding damage, not bad.
And that's where the kinstone is going to do some magic.
Alright, so this skip works with using the moments on the portal, which will push you up a little bit, and you can then jump onto the wall, and with a well-timed bomb explosion you can clip onto the wall. So how this works is by sliding against the portal and using an item, and holding right. So you jump on the portal, you will use the item, and then use the item again on the portal, and you got it first right. It's pretty nice. And I don't know why that really happens, but it does. So you just slide against the portal, you use an item, you continue holding right, and he will jump on the portal and use the item again. Although for this one specifically, if you don't hold, or if you don't stop holding right at one point, you will actually get a really long Molmitz animation, which wastes like 17 seconds or something. So you actually need to let go of right for just a tiny bit and then press right again. So that's something that a lot of new runners struggle with.
And after glitch, you kind of get in the wrong background layer of the game, so you have to drop down to the normal ground again. As you can enter the boss room in that layer, but you can't finish the boss. You can't go up the stairs afterwards or anything.
Yeah.
You can get the bomb to commit suicide pretty much when you enter, but the game is soft lock. So.
Yeah, I was about to say, sometimes the fight just triggers normally, but sometimes the boss just kind of explodes and then soft locks. It's kind of weird. But yeah, so...
I with the task to skip that to have the boss die and work out, but nope.
Me too. Speed's pretty bad.
Oh,
but yeah,
nice.
so this boss... He also got it first try. So for this boss, Mizal, you just shoot arrows at the hands and then slash them a bit. And then you go inside him, inside his mouth, where you have to slash a pillar, and the pillar cannot be in the same position twice in a row. So you can kind of route it a little bit. But it's still kind of RNG, so...
Yeah. And I realized I forgot to look up why this plays soft lock, or I can't remember.
Oh yeah, that's true. I also forgot that was a thing.
As for some reason, you can get, when you dig up the walls, there'll still be walls there, so you can't proceed through the head. So you have to exit and re-enter. But we still have no idea what causes that. I need to check it.
Alright, so Inquo is now about to get the quote-unquote most broken item in the game, which it still might be, but another item is also very broken.
Yeah.
But I'll already start explaining the next thing that's gonna happen, because it will take quite a bit of time, I'm assuming. So with the Ocarina, we can do the Ocarina glitch. And the first time we will see this here, Quo will just do it after a fusion, is we get Ocarina glitch off of a house. And how this happens is, if you enter a house and play the Ocarina at the exact same time, the Ocarina glitch activates. The problem is that you have to open the door of a house first before you can actually just touch the loading zone itself. Because if you just run into the door, you won't have any control of Link anymore. But if the door is open, you can just touch the loading zone whenever. So the way we do this here specifically is we use an NPC, and we kind of let the NPC clip us into the house while we open the door, which then clips us out again. It's a little bit strange, and it's really cool that it actually works. So let's see if he gets it first try.
That's really good.
He also got it unbuffered. That's really nice. So what this lets us do is...
Oh no!
He bombed.
So in that state, if you either roll or bunk it to a wall, the game will soft lock, so...
Yeah. So he has to do it again. But what this lets us get into that house he was trying to get into. Usually you cannot enter that house until you get the first book. So you first have to activate the book's quest, you need to get the first book, and then talk to the librarian twice. But we skip all of this, which means that we can get the power bracelets early. Now usually you would still have to do this if you needed the flippers, but with this we can skip the flippers later. Well, this was a thing for a long time, but with the new thing we can skip the flippers, and now we have to do this in order to still get the power bracelets. Although interestingly, the power bracelets are also skippable, but not really viable for RTA. And you will see later on why.
But I guess you won't really see later on, as you can see the hard part of that trick, as they won't go there. But yeah. But the bracelets are used in the last dungeon, well, second to last dungeon, I guess. To push some pots. But with some really precise and hard tricks, saying that you can skip that part. But it's not very RTA friendly. yet.
Okay, so to explain the first fusion we did earlier with the tingle, which I just kind of ignored because of the ocarina glitch, we do that because it triggers the magical boomerang side quest. You need to fuse with all 4 Tingle Brothers in order to open up all the trees, which then lets you get the magical boomerang. And we need the magical boomerang for a glitch later on. And here, Ko actually takes intentional damage, because we need to do the ocarina glitch off of another house once again later on. And for the other one, we actually don't have an NPC that just can clip us into the house. So we need to do something else, but we have a very good setup for it that Yadra and Z-Master came up with, which is really nice. It's so good.
Mm. Yeah, well, the trick itself is frame perfect. The setup works perfect as well to get that right frame. And here it's got the fuse to get access to the wind tower, as I like to call it.
Yeah, this warp also lets us do a little bit of a skip later on. Well, it's actually the biggest skip in the game, but
yeah, it's really convenient that Capcom decided to put that warp in.
bad decision.
Great decision.
I guess.
So, if you've seen like any % runs before, this route is kind of strange to think to get the Tingle Brothers, as you have to go through these caves around the Hyrule.
Yeah, getting the magical boomerang instead of the flippers is faster by about 2 minutes, if you're wondering.
I'm always scared that someone's going to die when they get the bracelets by taking all those hits. As the bulldozers,
yeah, it can be pretty scary.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess how the way you activate the ocarina glitch, how we used to do it in any % runs is mostly just off of staircases, which is a lot easier than houses. Staircases are already open, of course. They aren't usually blocked. Sometimes they are by doors, but then you just need to do a fight. But yeah, how you do it is you need to play the ocarina at the same time you enter the staircase. So the inputs would be you press up, and then on the next frame you have to press up and then B or A, depending on the button the ocarina is on. If you only press up for 1 frame, Link will not actually enter the staircase. So on the 2nd frame, when he enters the staircase, you want to still be holding up as well as playing the ocarina, which will then stop him from actually going into the house or using the staircase, and activate the ocarina glitch.
And while you're on the ocarina glitch mode, you can't roll or bump into something, otherwise the game is soft lock. And you can also not use the start menu to unequip items.
There's still a lot of properties we haven't quite explained yet, but you will see them later on, or in the next dungeon rather. Or even before that, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's when the ocarina glitch is activated, the screen kind of freezes. Unless you go to a different screen, then it's fine again. But if the screen is frozen like that, a lot of things just softlock the game. Like, if you roll, the game softlocks. If you jump off of a ledge, the game softlocks. If you talk to an NPC, the game softlocks. So if you
try to push something, if you try to pick up
everything
something,
softlocks the game.
Yeah.
So Blue apparently failed the brioche minute, so he actually has to get this backup Kinston here. Which isn't a big deal. It wastes a little bit of time, but for a marathon run, it's nice to have a backup Kinstone. This is the Kinstone we would usually get if we didn't have a manipulation, but because it's so slow, we really wanted a minute, so...
So even though it takes quite a long time to get the magic boomerang here, it's still worth it.
Yeah.
Again.
So Quo is just about to get the magical boomerang, and the magical boomerang is kind of a weird item. The normal boomerang you just throw and you can walk around again normally. The magical boomerang you can control when you throw it, and even after throwing it, if you hold down the button again, Link will not be able to move. And that's actually a property that lets us do something very interesting later on, or in the next dungeon. But first of all, we get the second house ocarina glitch by Quo. Let's see how many tries it takes. Oh wait, he doesn't do the setup. What?
No, it's the buffering.
Wait. Okay.
Well,
why does he not do the setup? I'm very confused. Anyway, you will Blue see do the setup. It's a very good setup, but I guess Quo is better than that.
So you need
He's
to open the
struggling
door
a
and
bit,
die at
though.
the same time. And that's why they got a
Yeah.
fairy before.
This friend looks good to me, though. Yeah, this one
Yeah.
should work.
And then you have to get the one frame trick with the ocarina. If you will enter the door, he'll have to reset to get the fairy back.
Yeah, the scary part is if you are 1 frame too early, you will enter the house, and then if you leave the house, the door will be there again. So you would need to do it again, which is why we save before doing this. Can you please? Oh, that's actually not a problem.
Oh, I
That's
forgot.
fine.
That's yeah. Okay, never mind.
Alright, so the ocarina glitch also lets us walk over water. Now the reason for this is because the tiles Link stands on don't actually update until you enter a different room, which is really nice for this.
So now, as we don't have the flippers, you need to do some new glitches inside this dungeon. And which is why they
Yeah.
got the magic boomerang. You could see it shortly. But I still have
So
to get
I'll
to the
already
small king.
explain a little bit of it because it will be hard to follow later on. So there's a new glitch called boss door clipping, and the way you do it is when you open a boss door, or before you open the boss door, you throw the boomerang upwards, then you open the boss door, and then you hold down the button the boomerang is on again. Because as I've mentioned, it gives you interesting properties, and for some reason, if you hold down the button and Link walks through the loading zone doesn't actually trigger. So you just walk past it and you just completely ignore the loading zone, which means that you are, well, it's kind of difficult to explain if you don't see it, but you will be in the next room, but without it actually having loaded. You will see what I mean in a second when you see it, but the thing about that is that you are actually in the next room, but no walls, no enemies, no actors, nothing is loaded except for loading zones. You can still trigger loading zones, and because you are in the next room already, you can just go anywhere you want to and trigger loading zone where you want. This technically would allow us to go to the boss directly. The problem is we still need the dungeon item to actually defeat the boss, so we kind of have to route the dungeon in a clever way to first get the dungeon item and then still go to the boss quickly. It will be a little bit difficult to follow because once you actually clip past the boss door, you can't really see what you're doing anymore. But once he does it, if you pay attention to the down right corner, you might see him use the cane a few times and see like the cane flashes and stuff. This is because we need to align ourselves on a specific pixel. If you roll into a wall or walk into a wall, it doesn't really matter. There are 2 pixels you can have. You can either be 1 pixel inside the wall or not. And we do want to be 1 pixel inside the wall, else we cannot clip us or clip up onto a wall, which you will see in a second. We also need the ocarina glitch because for some reason, if the ocarina glitch is active and you pause and you're inside a wall, you will just clip upwards again. But here you go, you will most likely see Quo pull this off now. Although I guess seeing the cane flashes is a little bit difficult. But yeah, there you go. Now we walk to the left to cancel the ocarina glitch, go back, and then we can access the blue turtle folder room very quickly. Now the reason why we actually go here and not just go to the dungeon item, which we could do as well, is because the blue turtle folder room is actually really nice, as in after we get the item we can save and quit, we can come back here, walk down the stairs on the top right corner of the room, and then do an ocarina glitch once again to just get to the boss very fast. It's pretty clever routing, and without Yadra, so shout out to Yadra, this would probably not have been possible, because she found out that with that specific pixel you can actually clip onto that wall there. Without
Seems like
going
you have some stream misses again.
excuse me?
There's some stream misses with Q again, it seems, at least for me.
Oh, I don't know. Oh yeah, a few.
Yeah.
But yeah, without actually going up there, we could still beat the dungeons without using the flippers, but it would be a lot slower. We would have to do almost the entire right side, then go back again, get Ocarina Glitch, go back to the end of the right side in order to skip just one gap, and it would be so slow. So it's really nice that we can actually get up there.
So here's Blue doing the glitch as well. Let's see if he can get the right pixel. It's tricky because you can't really see anything.
Yeah, it's really difficult to see. You really have to watch like an actual video of this trick to really see what exactly is going on, but he's struggling a bit, although I think he got the pixel already earlier. But as long as you're safe, alright, there he goes. As long as you just take your time and make sure you get it, you'll be fine. Also something that, when we found this glitch that a few people asked is, why don't you do the glitch, get the item, and then do the glitch again to get to the boss? That's because you can only do this glitch once, since if you do it once and then save, the boss door will be open. And you need to open the boss door in order to clip past it, so... Kinda unfortunate, but it's still nice that this actually works.
And then in some areas, the screen is going to fade into white before you enter the next room. And every time that happens, this Ocarina glitch is going to be cancelled. So otherwise you could like skip a lot more things in the game.
Yeah, unfortunate, but...
The only thing
so
with Ocarina
fighting
is, yeah, the boss fight.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Now.
There isn't really too much to say about this boss fight. It's just the first boss, but electrified, so...
Yeah. And they have a programmed fire rod in the game, which I guess was supposed to be instead of the lantern, but they switched it. But the fire rod is still in the game, and you can actually sit with a cheat code, but it doesn't really have any fire abilities. Instead, you can transform tiles. It's its own meme category.
Really weird.
There's like 40 minutes of glitching with the fire rod.
Alright, so Quo got the lamp now. Blue's about to get it after the mini-boss fight, and I mentioned earlier that Ocarina is considered the most broken item in the game. But if you look at what you can do with the lamp has so many more weird things that I almost want to say that the lamp is the most broken item in the game. Ocarina only really has Ocarina glitch, which that itself is really broken. But the lamp has so many different animation glitches and just weird things in general, as well as boss door clipping. You can also use the lantern for it. The lantern is just really broken in general too.
But Zelda, there are less uses for the lantern compared to Ocarina. Even though the lantern uses... well, you don't really need the lantern to glitch with in any way. But you can use it in Last Onion. And what is nice with the lantern is that to glitch with it to skip with the boss door, you have a lot more frames than Ocarina glitch. This is pretty nice.
But yeah, if we didn't need the lantern for the boss in this dungeon, we could just completely skip it. But unfortunately, we do need it. So Temple of Droplets is... While we skip like 80% of it, it's still like... It could be so much faster if we just didn't need the lamp. But we shouldn't really complain since we skipped so much now of it. Yeah. Even the section where we used to need the flippers for.
But it's too bad we can't skip the most annoying boss in the game.
That's true. Which Quo is about to fight. It's the devil himself, Big Octo.
So the Big Octo has an ink cycle when he spits ink and turns the screen black. And that is running to get and wastes lots of time.
Yeah, the first two cycles are very consistent. On the first cycle, he will always just shoot rocks at you, which you have to reflect. On the second cycle, he will start using his sucking attack, but there's a specific pattern to it. He will first shoot a rock, then use the sucking attack. Shoot a rock again. Wait, am I mixing up things? Yes, he will first suck, then... Wait, I am... It's muscle memory, I can't. Yeah, first sucking, then a rock, then sucking again, and then two rocks. There we go. That's the second cycle, so there's a pattern there too. If you miss any rocks, he will just repeat the cycles again. And then on the third phase, he will do one of different random things. And he can use the ink attack, which is something you really don't want. He can either shoot 3 rocks at you at once, which is exactly what you want. That's the fastest. he can charge, which is not too bad. It uses a little bit of time, but then you get another chance at the 3 rocks. Or he can do the sucking attack, followed by a rock and the ink attack. And the ink attack darkens the room, wastes about 20 seconds, and you just stand there and hope for the best. Hope for it to be over again soon.
Here it comes.
Yeah, there you go. Ink attack.
Here's a time for
zero
Blue to
ink.
catch up a bit if he gets 0
Yeah.
ink.
1 ink is pretty common. 2 ink and 0 ink are both fairly rare. There, more than 2 ink is usually not a thing unless you screw up the fight. So if you get more than 2 inks, it's your fault. Alright, he got a fast one.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's see if Blue can get lucky and get 0 ink. Would be pretty nice to catch up. So this is often a big debate on whether you should use the sword or the shield to block.
Oh yeah.
And the shield is for scrubs, really.
Generally, the sword can be a few frames faster, whereas the shield is a little bit safer. So yeah, there's a big dispute in the community what you should use. And people that use the shield usually call the sword users scrubs, and the sword users usually call the shield users scrubs, so it's something that's just a good thing in the community.
Yeah, and sword on B is the way to go. A button is for different things.
I don't really care much about
but
what the sword is on. Alright, so Quo is getting the next clone upgrade so that he can have 2 other clones, which once again, it could have been a lot more interesting if they just let you use different items, not just the sword. So the only real reason why you need 3 clones is to push big blocks.
So you can actually get to the next dungeon without cloning, but
Yeah.
you need it in the dungeon, in the second room. But it's so close to be able to skip it, but you just can't do it.
Not yet, not yet.
Not yet, yeah. Don't fight it when it touches down, please.
Alright, so what is Blue gonna get? He has 1 charge, 1 ink so far, I believe.
finishing.
Oh, he got the 2 ink. Really? He doesn't deserve that.
Oh.
Well, there you go. You get to see why this boss literally sucks. I mean, that's one of his attacks. So, Blue just lost 40 seconds to bad RNG. And 40 seconds in Minish cap is a lot of time.
Yeah, thank you, Q. Even though I see Sword and Aid right now.
And he gets a very slow charge as well. Wow, he was... Octo really doesn't like Blue today. Alright, there you go. That was a really bad Octo fight, but there's not too much he could have done. He could have positioned himself more next to the wall so that Octo does his attacks faster, but it's also a little bit dangerous because he was low on hearts already, so it's kind of hard to say. So on Quo's screen you can see now how we get to Palace of Winds early. Something that I haven't mentioned is that if the Ocarina glitch is activated, you can also just walk through NPCs, so...
Very beautiful, first try every time.
Easy.
So here's one reason you want to use the European, the Japanese version. As after you finish this dungeon, you can't use the Ocarina here. You have to go back down. And if you do the Ocarina glitch, you can't go back down because you get stuck in NPCs. So that's the third reason why the Japanese version is better compared to all other.
You can actually still go down, you just need to get rid of the second NPC in front of the staircase. For some reason, you can just clip through the first one. I don't know why, but that's just how it is. Else it would just be a soft lock on the European version. Luckily it isn't though. It still loses like 40 seconds, which is quite huge.
So for this room here, if you could somehow activate the Ocarina glitch in this room and the one before, you can skip past that big block. But you can't. Otherwise, you could get the Rock's Feather early, Rock's Cape. But even if you get the Rock's Cape early, like it doesn't matter because you can't use it the same time anywhere really.
Yeah.
But it'll be good.
It could have been useful in Temple of Droplets earlier, but with the new route, even that is not very useful anymore.
So when you get hit by fire, you can run a lot faster. And the time it takes for the fire to run out depends on how many button presses you do. So you want to keep spamming buttons. And you can get rid of the fire earlier.
Alright, so upcoming is the Wizard fight. Quo goes for the bomb strat. I'm sure Blue will do the lantern strat. And if done perfectly, this fight looks really cool. Is the bomb gonna hit them? No. He messed it up just a little bit. He picked up the wrong bomb, is the only thing he did wrong there. But yeah, there are two different strats. One uses a lot of bombs, the other one loses still a lot of bombs, but also the lantern instead of the sword. And none of them is really faster, it just really depends on what you prefer.
So here, if you go to the right, you can set up a glitch in order to skip the bracelets. But as mentioned, it's way too hard to do at the moment.
And with the clever jump onto the platform there, we can skip the complete right side there, which also is quite a huge time save.
That's one of the first things I found for this game. It was also found by Mr. Grunge at the same time.
Right, so this is the other block where we need 3 clones for.
Yeah, but you can't get past them anyhow, in a way. So while the upgrade can skip a lot of things, like there are some limitations to it, especially like where you can activate it.
Yeah.
So it's not as useful as it could have been. If we can get the damage boost from the pros, no. And now Blue enters the dungeon as well.
So, Palace of Winds also has quite a few skips now. Well, by quite a few skips, I mean, you already saw one with the platform. There's also one that skips the second half of the dungeon, which is a really big skip. But there's also a skip before that one that can save like 35 seconds, but it's very, very inconsistent. And you'll see why in just a bit. First we need a small key though. And we get the small key by doing the pod pushing puzzle, which is what we would skip if we got Ocarina Glitch earlier, since this is the only other place in the game where you need the power bracelets, or in the any percent run I should say, where you need the power bracelets.
Yeah. And one thing that I think is kind of interesting in this game here is when he's going up here now, Q, in this stream, if you were a big Link and someone get up to this loading zone upwards, you're going to be transformed into Minish Link.
Yeah, that's true. I noticed that with Fire Rod stuff. It's really weird.
There are a couple of those places in the game. So let's see if we go into for the lantern strat here.
I'm pretty sure he does. It's more consistent for him personally.
Oh, yeah, he's going for it.
Yeah, there you go.
You still use bombs as mentioned, but the lamp is really good because it kills them instantly. They also die slightly faster.
Yeah, the only bad part about the lantern is that the hitbox is really wonky, but he got a nice fight, so that's good.
Yeah, pretty good. That was even faster than Kuro, as he didn't miss a cycle. You see that they jump off the clouds earlier.
Oh yeah, we didn't mention that.
As to get to the loading zone, you only need to be in mid-air at the top of the screen to get up.
So
and at one instance you can even skip the clouds completely.
Alright, so Quo is now entering the ball and chain soldier guys things, which in this room we can activate the Ocarina glitch off of the cutscene that triggers when you kill these guys. Now the cutscene makes a key drop down, and for some reason on the first frame the cutscene starts. Oh, he actually doesn't even go for it. If you play the Ocarina on the very first frame the cutscene starts, the Ocarina glitch activates. Since that is very difficult to time and you can't like buffer inputs or anything, this is very inconsistent and you only very rarely get it. Now, this is something you would actually have to do. Not this specific cutscene ocarina glitch, but one earlier in the dungeon. This is something you would have to do to skip the bracelets, which is why we don't do it in runs currently. If you failed it once for bracelet skip, you would lose 1.5 minutes. And bracelet skip saves about 1.5 minutes, so failing it once already negates all the time save.
I found that cutscene ocarina play when I was at the end of the Dark Colored Castle. Right at the end of that dungeon, I found that glitch, and it's actually faster to do it here as well. But I had to redo the whole dungeon.
It's actually interesting. For years, we only had 2 ways to activate Ocarina Glitch, which was staircases and houses, but now we have 5 ways. We also have key blocks, cutscenes, and text boxes.
Key blocks are so interesting.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Alright, but Quo is just about to... Oh, he got a fairy. Nice. He's smart.
Yeah, that's one of the useful things when you have the boomerang. You can
yeah, not a lot of people do that. But yeah, he's about to do the boss door clipping glitch once again to skip the second half of the dungeon. Now, you can actually very easily enter the screen the boss door where the boss warp is on. So if you go down, clip past the boss door, you can just go to the right and go up here, which is exactly what we want. Since for some reason the layout is really nice here and just lets us go to the warp, which warps us to the boss.
So good.
When we
and it was almost possible we can use the cutscene.
Yeah. When we found, or when I found the cutscene Ocarina glitch there, I was so disappointed that you could not actually get there with the cutscene Ocarina glitch, because after the screen transition, since you're not on a different layer, the game knows that you're in the air, so you will just fall down infinitely. It's so sad, but I'm so happy that I found boss door clipping to make it possible.
If Link could somehow stand on solid ground for 1 frame and then to the next area, he could go through the rest of the holes. But nope.
Yeah. But it just...
later on there was a backup plan. Well, a backup, a new way of doing it, I guess. So this boss is not too hard most of the time. It can be a bit tricky when you clone and the...
it can be controlling, yeah. The first 2 cycles are pretty consistent. Basically, the movement is the same every time. On the 3rd cycle here, he will start shooting randomly these electric balls or whatever they are, as well as just fly around randomly, which can push you off the red Gyurk.
It is possible to hit all these eyes without cloning, but it's kind of tricky.
Yeah, certain patterns can be done without clones, which some people do now in runs. I don't know how many. I do it. That's all I know. I think
the way this boss fight works,
Turtle also did it.
You need to hit the 3 eyes in a matter of 5 frames, 6 frames I think it is, to deal damage. So 3 eyes means 1 damage. And you need to hit him like... Oh, it's different.
Oh, there you go, he did.
Nice. So that's a way to skip the cloning. But you need the right pattern pretty much for it, otherwise it's pretty difficult.
I think Blue got pretty good RNG for the Moblin fight. Almost.
Also, yeah.
The other Moblin just barely dodged the bomb explosion. Alright, so pretty nice that we just can skip the second half of Fellows of Winds now. Since this, the second half is usually the one that is really trolly. There are like switches you have to activate while dodging P-hats, for example.
Or the Wall Masters.
Or those 2.
Most of the runners do it by killing them with an arrow or something.
Yeah.
But it can be kind of annoying.
So you will also see Blue do boss door clipping once again. So since you're in the other room, you can just freely go to the right since there aren't any walls floated. You can trigger the transition and just go up again in order to go up to this wall here, which then puts you up on a different layer, and the game thinks that you are actually on actual floor, since that specific layer isn't programmed as air or whatever.
And it's possible to go at the top of this boss fight area. There's some glitch tiles you can land on.
Oh, isn't that only in the European version though?
Oh, maybe that's it. Okay, yeah, that might be it. But yeah, it's completely useless, but it's still a fun
Yeah.
technique.
Oh, I was talking about Clonus Turtle. I think you do that too sometimes. I'm not 100% sure though. But Quo did it once anyway, so we got to see it. The game doesn't actually get confused. Although, interestingly, if you do boss door clipping, it's kind of difficult to explain, really. You're kind of on two screens at once, but you can check the map, and whatever, or the area that is shown, like where Link is the actual place you are at until you pause. Which, yeah, it requires a lot of explanation, and it's not really necessary for any percent, so I'm not going into too much detail, but it's really weird what the game does once you're on two different screens, technically.
Yeah, this cutscene, like, for some reason I have to watch the intro cutscene twice. It's pretty much identical. But the game thought it was a good idea. I just realized that it's really dark in my room right now.
Yeah, it got pretty dark. Almost 2 hours.
Spooky.
Alright, so for Quo we get another glitch that is only really used once in 80%, which is called cutscene walking. It only saves like 7 seconds, I believe. But basically by activating 2 cutscenes at the same time, you will be able to walk around during one of the cutscenes.
Oh, is it 7 seconds that much, really?
I think it's 7 seconds. At least that's what Quo's video said.
I never
always
kind of just did it.
Yeah, I always kind of doubted the actual time save because people do it differently. And I don't actually know what like the actual fastest strat is for this. But yeah.
Oh, too bad.
Oh,
So when the girls turn back to life,
Yeah.
Link is automatically looking at him. So that way you can actually turn around while, for example, running or rolling automatically. Which is kind of interesting, which you can't normally do. So the final done in the game is also going to do a lot of skips because of the upgrade glitch. Someone is coming up pretty much instantly. Blue is buffering for me.
for me as well. Alright, so with the first Ocarina glitch we skip a key we would get from unfreezing the king. So the king actually is never saved in the 80% run, so whoops.
And for this dungeon you need 4 keys in the end. There are 6 keys you can choose from, but these are the 4 fastest ones. The king key is pretty close to being fast, but a couple of seconds slower still.
It does
Okay, we
look
lost
like
blue.
it crashed, yeah. Alright, so for the cannon room here, this strat is a little bit difficult. Yeah, he messed it up a bit. He was a little bit slow. It's pretty precise, actually, although it's interesting that most of the time when people pick up the strat, like new runners, they usually get it all the time until they run this game for a longer time, and then suddenly everyone just messes it up every time.
Yeah.
It's probably Blue's internet.
Yeah. He got disconnected from Discord as well.
Yeah.
I just realized, do you have a constant audio feed from me? That's not supposed to happen.
Alright, so here Quo uses the Ocarina glitch once again in order to
Oh.
get another small key. Oh, he bonked! Wait a second,
Debunked.
that's really bad.
Wow.
Wait a second. When
did
was
he
the
save?
last time he saved?
Ouch. That's a big time loss.
Wait a second. I have never had that
He is
happen at
so
that
mad
point
right now,
before.
dude. Oh
has to-
no.
Defeat Octo again.
Oh.
I don't think that's happening.
Okay, well, rip indeed.
So yeah, again, when Ocarina Glitch is active, it is very easy to softlock, which is something that just happened. Although, I have never seen it at that place before.
I have seen it, but every time I've seen it, like someone had a save to save already. So yeah.
The thing is too, after you get the first key he was about to get, you do a save and quit. So, just like 30 more seconds and he would have actually saved.
Yeah, that's right. Wow. Okay.
Alright, I guess that means we will turn our attention to Blue.
Unless Blue does the same
Awesome.
thing, that would be kind of funny.
I hope not.
I suppose.
That's
but
not
yeah.
really something that just happens a lot. If it happens, it's usually in Temple of Droplets because there
Yeah.
the chance is fairly high.
And the reason why you exit the dungeon is to be able to save warp to it later on.
Oh yeah.
Let's see if we can get the clone skip here for the statues.
Yeah, Quo's softlocked. He got Ocarina Glitch, and then he bonked into the wall, which then softlocks the game. And he softlocked just right before the next save and quit. So really unlucky.
I don't think we have time for him to finish the run for the marathon.
Yeah, I don't think he will, because he doesn't have that much time. He will have to leave at some point.
Yeah. It will just keep going, I guess, for the sports. Oh, well, that's really sad. Oh yeah, Falco. Zero Ink saves, like... Is it like 40 minutes? No?
It's a lot of time. What's the estimate again? 158. I'm not sure if Blue will be able to cut the estimate. We'll see though.
I'm not even checking the mainstream. I don't know what time it is at the moment.
So please don't bonk too, Blue. Okay, that should be fine. I'm scared. Okay. We made it into a different room. The screen is unfrozen. No more
Yeah,
chances
since
to
you
softlock.
leave the room, you can roll and bunk as much as you want. No worries. We got
Alright,
this.
so this is what Quo was about to do just before he softlocked. Something that I still haven't really mentioned yet is because you don't really do it anymore in any other dungeon. With the Ocarina Glitch, if you go up staircases, you get on a different layer, and when the Ocarina Glitch is active, you cannot go down any layers anymore. So while you can go upstairs, you cannot go down on them anymore. Which then means you will still be on the same layer that you were on before, which also means that you can just walk over walls. A lot of the time, at least. You will actually see that once again here.
So in this dungeon, there are 4 keys in like each corner, but you only get 3 of them, as the 4th one is faster to get elsewhere for the after the statues are cloning. As you need to kill the statues anyway to set up the Ocarina Glitch.
Yeah, so here he goes up the stairs, which higher his height value, and even though he goes them down again, which should normally lower his height value, it doesn't do it because the Ocarina Glitch is active. So I can just use that to walk over the walls that are on lower layers.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. Alright. Alright, so this is the last Ocarina Glitch in the game. With it, we can do door jumps, so-called. While doing that, usually you cannot jump in doorways like that, but when the ocarina glitch is active, you can for some reason. And by doing that, you kind of clip into the wall a little bit, and then by transitioning to the other screen, you can jump out of the wall again, which then skips like the door. It's not actually a door jump, it's more like you get stuck in the wall, which kind of is a ledge, and then you jump off the ledge again, but they're just called door jumps.
Yeah. So it's nice that you have the ocarina glitch on. You can just walk forward to put a bob inside the blocks.
And you cannot actually jump these down normally. In order to go down again, you actually have to jump and then roll for some reason, and that then puts you down a layer again. So there are still ways to go down layers with the ocarina glitch active. They're just very limited.
And when you go down there, you have to land on a platform, otherwise you drop down into the hole.
That was a nice Darknet fight by Blue.
Yeah.
So you can...
It's not a cutscene, you can. Yeah.
I don't really know how to explain it though. Basically, if you hit the Darknet, he will be like in a stun position, in hit stun, I guess. And so you can just repeatedly slash him. And as long as you don't miss, he won't move.
You can actually skip that cutscene where the Darknet appears. But it's kind of tricky, as you can't use the ocarina normally when the cutscene starts. You have to pause the game first, because that gives you one extra frame to use items before the cutscene starts. So the way you do it is to pause and you play the ocarina, then you save and quit to get back to the menu, and then use the portal that shows up. And that is slightly faster than to watch the whole cutscene. But it's not enough for the human player to care for it, so...
Yeah, and it doesn't even really save time on the console because of the longer save and quits, so... It would save time on Wii U VC, which has very fast loading, or save and quit times, and loading times, that too. But all runners basically run on, what is it called? Game Boy Player, so... For the GameCube, which has pretty slow loading times as well as save and quits.
So now Blue has the 4 keys is needed to get the big key. Fun enough, you can use the ocarina glitch and use the stairs as front of the big key to glitch to the boss. But you can't get to those stairs before moving the block, which requires you to get the 4 keys.
Yeah.
So it's so inconvenient sometimes.
And so after getting the 4th key, we did a save and quit once again, which is a little bit faster, but it also resets our RNG value once again. And we use that to try to manipulate the next Darknet fight. It's kind of tricky to do because of the Keaton room, which we'll see in a second. But if you are able to pull off the RNG manipulation successfully, one of the Darknets will start charging at you at the very beginning of the fight, which then means you can get a quick kill on him. And it's also the Darknet that requires 7 slashes. There are 3 Darknets, 2 require 5 slashes and the other one 7. So you get the big threat out of the way first, without any problems at all. So you want to do 7 slashes here, and then look at the drops you get. Oh, yeah, he messed it up. I don't think that's happening. Maybe he gets good RNG though, and he will still get the, what is it called? The dash, or the charge rather.
So the first time I made a test of this game, I pretty much gave up when I got to this point. I simply couldn't optimize the Darknet's fight. I spent a few weeks on them, then just said, oh wait, this is good enough, I want better. The second time I tested this game and went up here, kind of went the same way. But then I found a really good strat that was so nice looking and fast, so... It still took a long time to optimize it. These guys are really hard to do. I'm very satisfied with the result.
So Blue actually did get the charge, which means he just killed one of the Darknets very quickly.
Yeah.
And only fighting the other 2 isn't really a big deal anymore at that point. But now we're finally... Yeah. The final boss, which is split into 3 different phases. So Vadi 1, or I guess all of them are really trolly. Although nowadays Vadi 1 is the most trolly. What you have to do is you have to slash the outer eyes first, and then slash the inner eye. Usually it's 5 phases, and on the first phase it's only 2 eyes. On the second and third phase it's 4 eyes. On the 4th and 5th it's also 4 eyes, but they will be covered in like dark magic or whatever, and you have to use the gust jar to get rid of the stuff.
So there's not a difference in this fight with the eyes. In the European version, you have to slash them twice.
Yeah, which is
And
another
it's only
reason
one on
why
Japanese.
European version is a little bit worse. Also, on the European versions, there aren't any pots in this room, and one of these pots actually has a fairy. I think 2 have hearts, and the one has 5 arrows. So the European version is just a little bit more difficult during this fight. So as you can see, he can be quite trolly. Most of the time he's a troll because he just teleports around the room for like billions
like
of
a
years.
Ganon in Link to the Past.
Yeah, it can be really bad. Sometimes he will also use his fire attack, which is kind of difficult to dodge. But it's not that bad most of the time. It can be though. Also, sometimes for just no reason at all, you will get 6 cycles instead of 5.
So the second fight, as with the Bonga Bonga boss, whatever it's called, you can't get the same pattern twice in a row. And the first time is always the same in this fight. So the red eyes are always in the middle in front of you. Then it's random, but you can quite easily predict like where they are.
And interestingly, this fight.
Skipping.
Yeah, this fight used to be 4 to 5 cycles, but now we actually have a consistent 3-cycle strategy because it's not on the European version. I'm not sure about US version, but on the Japanese version, Vadi's health here is actually kind of glitched, and if you do too much damage, you can just skip cycle. Well, you can if you do too much damage on the 3rd phase, that is, on the 3rd cycle.
So right now on the Kyoto screen, you can see the setup for the bracelet skip.
Oh, actually, it was weird. That's...
So what you need to do is to kill these enemies and use the Queen Village on the 1 frame timing when the cutscene starts. No, he didn't go for it.
What is he doing?
He didn't even try.
I'm not sure what Ko's doing, but doesn't really matter too much, probably.
What a troll.
Oh, he doesn't have a fairy.
Oh yeah. If you do the human way of doing it, you need a fairy to do it. Otherwise it's crazy hard and stupid. But it's possible.
Alright, so Blue just finished off Vadi 2 with a spin attack, which all 4 links hit Vadi twice, so that's a lot of damage. And then you actually need another slash to finish off Vadi, because for some reason the spin attack cannot kill Vadi, even though he's like at 0 health already. You still need to do 1 more slash. But yeah, that was also found like 1 week after the task was released, so...
I tried to skip a cycle, but wasn't able to do it. It doesn't save as much as paper skip though.
Yeah. This actually happened during one of my runs, so it was just discovered an accident. And the method was actually different to what we do now. What we do now is just a lot more consistent, but what happened in my run was just super weird. But it was also 3 cycle, which was never seen before. Alright, so Blue's most likely getting the safety fairies here. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then goes to the last Vadi fight.
Oh, you only got 1 fairy though. Interesting.
Oh, I kind of underestimated Blue's time. He will be underestimated. It's pretty nice. Alright, so Vadi 3, he is also the cause of of a lot of lost runs, especially when I play this game. I like to lose runs to this guy a lot. So, first you have to wait for him to attack with his arms, which you then have to...
Oh wow, great arm position.
Really, I have never seen that before, that's so troll, my god. And he has to wait for another attack. That's really unlucky. I've never seen that before.
The Minish block here is pretty nice because it can't take damage when you're up there, so it's a safety spot.
Yeah. But so you have to use the cane on them, which then lets you enter them, and in them you have to hit the right eye, which like the more colorful eye, 8 times, which then gets rid of the arm, and you have to do that twice. Although the second arm will actually be dark inside, so you also have to use the lantern to see what you're actually doing.
Yeah, I got far behind me because they did a soft lock in Dark Harry Castle. Got bonked.
So after the second arm is gone, there's a little bit of a manipulation as well. If you're fast and clone immediately and get in front of Vadi, he will most likely use his blue ball attack instead of the electric ball thing. It usually works. Like, what is it? 90% of the time it works 100% of the time or something.
Yeah.
You just have to reflect all the balls, which is also fairly precise actually, and also the cause of a lot of lost runs. But yeah, if you're on a good pace here and get a little bit nervous, align just a little bit too far to left or right, you lose so much time. Because once you miss once, he will start using the other attack he has, and then the cycles are just completely messed up.
And
It's
time is coming
difficult
up, by the way.
recover. Oh yeah, he missed though, so
Oh. Yeah.
still a little bit more time.
I'm slightly
for
behind
time. So yeah, as you can see, he missed, and now he's just trolling him all the way. He's using different attacks. He didn't run out of the clone tech.
Time.
Yeah, time.
Alright.
Good job, Blue.
Alright.
Too
So,
bad for him.
Blueinfinity finished with a time of 1:55.53. And since the poor crew after his softlock won't be able to finish in time, he will forfeit now, and he will load a save in the end game to be able to beat the final boss. Cause I don't know what you say,
Alright.
Chad, but I think he deserves it.
Yeah, go for it.
He was doing pretty well.
He was doing pretty well, so yeah, let this guy get
Get
the
the glory.
finisher as well, and Toad and Tompa will get to this, I guess. So yeah, guys, give the man his spotlight. Piano solo by Tompa, and
Good
it's
job.
done already.
Alright, so I
That's
don't
very
actually know
fitting music at the moment.
if Quo knows the Darknet manipulation. Even though he has tasks this game together with Tompa, he doesn't do a lot of, like, the more precise things. Unless he knows about them, and he's the only one that does them.
Even though, like, if you test the game and you can see things like how the randomness works, it's not really easy to do anything about it. Even though, like, if you do this, the randomness is going to go up by 3, but it won't help you because you can't know what R&D CD are on most of the time.
It's actually kind of interesting that we got to see such a time loss due to Ocarina Glitch softlock
Yeah.
in a marathon run. Actually, he does have the right RNG value.
Yeah. As you could see by the... oh. He didn't get
If
it. Then.
he... yeah, that's because he didn't do the backup. Because the last guy charged to the right, he actually needed to do 2 sword slashes, I believe, in the Darknet room to fix the RNG, so... But yeah, that's not really Quo's fault, that's more the fault of, like, me not being able to deliver information very well to every runner. Because I came up with the Darknet manipulation, and there are a lot of people that don't know everything about it that you should probably know, so...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Quo, that was my bad.
Yeah, that's why Toad has the record, because he found all the strats and he never tells anyone, like, all the details.
Please. I mean, people can just try
Yeah.
and then ask. It's not like...
Yeah, anyone can feel free to join the Discord server. We have it's active 24/7 pretty much, and we're always welcoming new players.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
especially recently there have been quite a lot of new runners. And Quo has also made a tutorial, which is now kind of outdated, but it still covers the old any% route, which is probably better for beginners. And Blueinfinity has made a somewhat basic tutorial for the new route. He doesn't cover everything as in depth as Quo's tutorial, but it's still good to learn about the new route. So, and there are plenty of resources in the Discord as well. Like we have a resources channel where we only post resources related stuff. So, like how specific strats work, for example. So. And even if you still have questions afterwards, you can just ask.
Indeed.
Hey, Blue. Dude, Blue, your Octo was so unlucky, and Body 3. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, that Octo fight. Oh yeah. That's something you can lose Minish without, like, you can't do anything. Yeah, you're still in the voice. Get in here. Do some last-minute commentary, Pedron.
And Quo actually got the 6 cycle instead of 5. He actually got the extra cycle on the very first one, which is super weird, but it sometimes happens. Sometimes it's actually just because of not slashing fast enough, or like you slash, then you touch Vadi, which gives you a little bit of knockback, and that's already enough for you to get an extra cycle. So sometimes that can be super frustrating.
Q, please go for a clone skip once. Thank you, thank you.
I don't think you will, that's very inconsistent.
I don't think you will either. I would love to see it though.
Title Power Luigi does clone wise.
I can barely hear you, Blue.
Oh, you're really quiet.
Let me see if I can do something about that.
I can hear that something is speaking.
Is this any better?
Yeah, it's better.
A lot better.
Okay.
So, I don't know if you know, Blue, but Quo actually softlocked in Dark Harry Castle.
No, I had no idea.
And had to go back and fight Octo. That's how far back he was.
Wait,
put
all the way back to
due
Octo?
softlock. Yeah. That's where you kind of caught up. He was ahead of you by like 3 minutes most of the time. Then he softlocked and lost 40 minutes, so...
Yeah, like, I just had, like, I can't believe the Puff Stools and Deepwood Shrine was so mean to me, like, Like, I got most of the hard tricks first try, which was kind of nice. But, yeah, I had such bad luck, and then, like, I was doing, like, layout stuff during the run, too.
Oh, yeah.
you did a lot of weird stuff sometimes.
The internet died. Oh, nice, you got the cycle skip as well.
Yeah, you got the recycle. Shout out to the task.
Let's see if he can get better hands luck than Blue. I love the hand position you got in the fight, Blue.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, please.
And the Minish still just blocking you, and like Marty's on the other side destroying you. So it's a good thing about the mountain water, by the way. I didn't drop it earlier.
Right, we're gonna see the last Vadi fight one last time. Hopefully with less bad RNG. That was really something.
I got beat up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the run or the race. Yeah. It was a weird race, to be honest. But we good, I believe.
And even though we had to fight with only one heart, she still has a fairy. So.
Yeah, he should be fine. But yeah, I hope the explanations were fine. Ocarina Glitch is difficult to explain in the first place, and then we have now the very difficult to explain Blue Warp or Blue Teleporter Room early in Temple of Droplets. Wow, cool, peace. Which is something new and difficult to follow as well as difficult to explain, so...
And there's so many small details you can go into if you want to, like how things work in the game. But who cares, really?
We probably didn't even explain like half of the stuff that we could have said, so...
I could have gone into like sub-pixel stuff. You haven't even mentioned sub-pixels yet.
Sub-pixels we probably shouldn't.
Everyone loves sub-pixels.
Windmask absolutely adores sub-pixels.
Oh yeah. Like if something goes wrong in the game, it's either randomness or sub-pixels. Or both, I guess.
Oh, is Aegis next? I think PhD is next.
Yep.
I mean, that's basically ages. Just handheld or console.
Uh-oh, he didn't get the fast clones. Let's see if he still gets the blue balls. Nah, he got the other attack. So you do have to be somewhat fast, and then you also have to stand right in front of him to get the manipulation. Which still doesn't work 100% of the time, but I want to say like 90%.
I just remember the old Lake House Ocarina glitch with subpixels back when we were doing like Asla buffers.
Oh yeah. Gotta love them. Okay, final hits coming up here.
Yep.
Oh
that
no,
might
of
miss,
course.
yeah.
Every time, like when you have the final hit, you miss the.
So this is exactly what I mean. If you're just a little bit nervous, this stuff happens, and just imagine being on a very good pace and then fighting this guy. It's impossible sometimes. So many runs have died to this very last fight.
All right, that's it.
It's done.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Good game.
So good job, guys.
Good job, guys.